Welcome to my presentation, Becquerel, Life Accomplishments, etc. Focus on etc. This isn't going to be your normal presentation, so sit back, relax, let's have a little fun. A Becquerel, also can be pronounced Becquerel, is the SI-derived unit used to measure the rate of radioactive decay. When the nucleus of an atom emits nucleons, protons and or neutrons, and is thereby transformed into a different nucleus, decay has occurred. A decay rate of 1 becquerel for a given quantity means there is one such atomic transformation per second. So that means a becquerel is a measurement of time, of the rate of decay. How many times per second an atom emits a particle is its becquerel number. This is named after Henry Becquerel, who my presentation is supposed to be on. When researching him, I wanted to find something interesting about him to go off of, and the very first thing that I noticed was he had an awesome beard. What is it about scientists that they have awesome beards? What other scientist had awesome beards? Well, as another guy with an awesome beard once said, it's worth a Google. A few science beards that I found. Charles Darwin, awesome beard. Galileo Galilei, awesome beard. Leonardo da Vinci, wizard beard. Ivan Pavlov, looking mean with his fist-fighting beard. And Wilhelm Röntgen with his X-ray beard. Who else has awesome beards? Well, the guys from ZZ Top have been rocking theirs for quite a while now. Charlton Heston had a pretty awesome one in that Jesus movie, and I'm a little partial to mine. I think the guy behind me approves as well. So you have an awesome beard. What do you do now? Well, if you're Henry Becquerel, you study phosphorescence. Phosphorescence is the property of being luminous at temperatures below incandescence, as from slow oxidation in the case of phosphorus or after exposure to light of other radiation. In other words, you study rocks that glow. Now, his father was a scientist, and he had a collection of rocks that he passed down that directed Becquerel's research. But I think it would have been just as interesting if he would have studied rocks that glow from Superman's Fortress of Solitude or Dwayne Johnson. But instead he chose uranium salts in crystal form. The way his experiments worked is he had sunshine, X-ray plates, black paper, and uranium. He would take the black paper and wrap the X-ray plates to protect them from the sun from being exposed, and then would place the uranium on top of that, and then set it in the sun, expecting that the sunlight would stimulate the rock to emit the X-rays, thus exposing the plate. One thing that could go wrong on an experiment based on sunshine. That's right, clouds. The weather was awful, so he took the experiment and put it inside a sealed, light-proof box, expecting that he could just wait a couple days until the weather improved, place it back in the sun, and continue. After a couple days, though, the weather wasn't very good, and so he decided to go ahead and develop the plate just to make sure that there wasn't any extra radiation that had gotten on it, and start over again. But what he found in that box was more surprising than the time that Kevin Spacey sent Gwyneth Paltrow's head to Brad Pitt. What he found. This is the actual X-ray from inside the box. This shows the outlines and markings of the two uranium salt crystals, and that they actually exposed the plate even though they were not in any sunlight whatsoever. This caused Becquerel to change his thesis. He wrote, "The same crystalline crust of potassium uranyl sulfate, arranged the same way with respect to the photographic plates, in the same conditions and through the same screens, but sheltered from the excitation of incident X-rays and kept in darkness, still produce the same photographic images. So he discovered that uranium had radioactivity, which is defined as spontaneous emission of radiation, either directly from unstable atomic nuclei or as a consequence of a nuclear reaction. This discovery was pretty big and earned him the 1903 Nobel Prize for Physics. The medal states, in recognition of the extraordinary services he has rendered by his discovery of spontaneous radioactivity. Now, this award was a little different because he shared it with Marie Curie and Pierre Curie, who are on the right of the medal, in recognition of the extraordinary services they have rendered by their joint researches on the radiation phenomena discovered by Professor Henry Becquerel. Becquerel unfortunately died just 5 years after receiving the award, but he came from a large family of scientists. His grandfather was a scientist, his father was a scientist, he was a scientist, and his son carried on the tradition. Now, there might have been some more, or maybe not, that I did for research, but I've decided to leave it out of the presentation. I hope you've had an opportunity to learn a little bit about Becquerel, and I hope you learned about his experiment and exactly how he discovered spontaneous radioactivity. Take care.